My patient, 34 years of gentleman, Ravinder Gaur, residing at Narsing, farmer by occupation, educated at well standard, and from low socioeconomic status, came with chief complaints of breathlessness on exertion since 3 years and chest pain since 2 years. History of present illness. Patient was apparently alright 3 years back when he started having breathlessness. Incidence in onset, gradually progressive in nature, such that initially he started having breathlessness while walking up to his farm, which is about 2 kilometers away from his home, and on climbing 2 flights of the stair, suggestive of the NYHA class 2, which has gradually progressed over last 3 years, such that now since past 5 to 6 months he is having breathlessness even on the climbing 1 flight of the stairs, and also on his activity like dressing, undressing, and taking bath. His breathlessness used to get relieved by taking rest. It was not associated with history such of any orthopnea or PND. It was not associated with cough and seasonal variation. Patient also gives history of episodic chest pain, retrosternal, with heaviness sensation, at times constricting in nature, on exertion, not radiating anywhere, which used to last at for around 4 to 5 minutes and relieved by taking rest since 2 years. The chest pain is gradually progressive in nature, such that
Oh, no, no. Just one episodic chest pain. Where it is? Episodic chest pain.
retrosternal, sir,
Just
retrosternal, constricting or heaviness, and sometimes constricting in nature.
so
The
it is
chest pain,
typical angina. Typical angina.
yes, sir, it suggests all three features of the typical angina is present, sir.
Yes, yes. But he's only 34 years man, right?
Yes, sir, he is only 34 years farmer.
34 farmers. Typical angina. What is the probability of corona disease?
Yes, sir.
34-year man.
Uh,
History of a typical angina pectoris. So,
yes,
what
sir.
is the probability of a coronary atherosclerotic disease?
Sir, actually, he is having a significant family or history also. So, if paternal history is there, then CVD risk increases by 75% first degree male relative.
So, if you consider the family history means what? What is family history?
Sir, his father had similar complaints at his age of 45 years, and for which he was evaluated, and even diagnostic test was done, probably coronary angiogram, and but a report is not available. But he was advised lifelong medication for it, and he was not advised any surgery.
Then it is not coronary disease, no? It is
Yes.
mainly coronary. It is mainly coronary disease. So, so how do what is the meaning of family history of coronary disease? Tell me. What do we need family
Sir,
history of coronary disease?
sir, if first degree relatives, a male less than 60, less than 55 years, and female less than 65 years, having symptomatic coronary artery disease, significant symptomatic coronary artery disease, then it is significant family history.
So this is a proven case of either patient has macular infarction or patient has got coronary atherosclerosis proven by imaging, no?
Yes, sir.
Coronary
Yes, sir.
by
Yes, sir.
angiography, by CT or
Yes, sir.
by angiography.
Yes, sir. In this case, it is not that classical family history, sir.
Yes. So okay, forget that your family history point. Just say what is the probability of coronary disease here? A 34 man having typical angina pectoris. High probability or intermediate probability, or it is low probability?
Low probability. Low probability, sir.
Low probability or intermediate probability?
It depends on other history also, sir, like history of addictions or.
No. History angina pectoris. No, that Diamond Forest. No, they have done. No, they have this. They classified typical angina, non-angina chest pain, and age
Yes, sir.
and
As
gender.
per Diamond Forest, sir, it is typical angina only, sir. All three features are present.
That's
And
correct. No, tell me that a patient has 34-year-old man has come to you. Typical angina pectoris. What will do? What is your next plan?
sir, There are scorings for like hard score for angina, sir, stable angina. You have to evaluate in patients of the chest pain hard score. If score is 0 to 3, then we can consider it as a low risk, or 4 to 6, then medium risk. More than 7% high risk, sir.
No, that is what, see, that what patient comes to acute chest pain, no. That comes to acute chest pain, that is hard score. Acute chest pain comes to chest pain, you need, then you decide what to do. But patient has got a chronic history.
Yes,
chronic
sir.
typical angina, 34 man is having like 3 years of chest pain like this. So what is the next case? Tell me, what do you do next? What is the plan? What diagnosis will give and what would you plan next plan? You know, there's no pharmaceutical coronary disease. Maybe he has got smoking or may not be smoking also. Not a diabetes or not hypertension also. May not be there, but this is the only thing there. So what is the next step?
Next step we'll do investigation, sir. Like we can do treadmill test or 2D echo.
Treadmill test. Why would you do treadmill test for what? Why do treadmill test? We are sitting in the clinics and a 34 or 35 man come and told, sir, I've got this. He will narrate the history and you thought it typical angina. What is the next step? You do an ECG.
Sir, first ECG 2D echo, followed by for low probably CT coronary angiogram. Hello.
I'm hearing and thinking also. How will you answer your things? How will you respond to your answer? I'm thinking that you do CT coronary. What to do? What is the objective of doing CT coronary?
Low probability suspected CAD.
Low probability, nothing to do. So it is intermediate probability of coronary disease. So anyway, so what to do next? You do coronary. What is the objective of doing echo?
To rule out whether it is coronary related ischemia or non-coronary causes of ischemia.
Tell me what is non-coronary?
Non-coronary causes of angina or myocardial ischemia is like demand supply mismatch. For example, in aortic stenosis, sometimes nocturnal in aortic regurgitation, or cardiomyopathies like hypertrophic cardiomyopathies. All this will be non-coronary ischemia because of demand supply mismatch.
Okay, so what are the other causes?
2D echo will rule out these causes, sir. And if these all obstructive diseases are not there, then we can think of CT coronary angiogram to rule out premature CAD.
Premature CAD. So you can find it, okay, you can rule out atherosclerotic coronary disease, inflammatory coronary disease, anomalous congenital coronary disease. So rule out by CT. You have to mention like this. I do CT rule out the coronary ischemia because
anomaly,
inflammatory obstruction, and atherosclerotic, even though it is very less. But typical angina pectoris, in the absence of any structural heart disease, I would invest it in this line.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So what is your then? What do you do then? There is typical angina pectoris for last 3 years. Okay.
Angina is last 2 years, sir. Gradually progressive. Now currently in NYHA class 3.
How do functional class? What is the functional class of angina here?
Functional.
What's the functional class of angina here? Yeah?
Class 1. So functional classification or NYHA classification and Canadian Cardiovascular Society classification, sir. In class 1, it's.
No, what is here functional class? I'm asking.
Here at present is a functional class 3, sir. Both dyspnea as well as exertional dyspnea as well as angina is class 3 at present. Progress over dyspnea progress over 3 years and angina progress over last 2 years.
Suppose the patient has a functional class 2 and now functional class 3. What is pathophysiology? What is the pathophysiology so that you become more symptomatic? What could the pathophysiology?
Maybe progression of the disease, sir, increasing more wall stress or increase in LVDP, causing increase in pulmonary capillary wedge pressure, increasing functional class of the breathlessness.
No, I'm asking the angina, ma. I'm asking
Angina.
angina.
Sir, progression of the disease, like for example, in obstructive disease, if LVH progresses, wall stress will progress, and then LVDP will progress. Then, as LVDP rise, coronary perfusion pressure will get impaired, and angina will increase.
So then, what is the clinical implication of these things? Class 2 become class 3. What do you think then? If the patient has progression of atherosclerosis or progression of any other factors, left hypertrophy because hypertension or anemia, or what do you think over here?
Yes, sir. There can be precipitating factors, sir, like arrhythmia, anemia, associated systemic hypertension, precipitating in atherosclerosis, any plaque rupture, or
how come anemia produces angina pectoris?
So anemia is increased demand, sir. Hypertime circulation in demand will increase. If patient is already compromised, then he will get decomposed. Decompensation will be there because of anemia.
No, I'm asking anemia is a cause of angina or anemia is a factor for increase in severity of angina. So how it is? You told demand because hypertime circulation. Demand increase.
Both can be present, sir. Anemia can cause secondary angina also.
How can do that? I'm asking. What is the mechanism of secondary angina because of anemia?
Sir, demand supply mismatch, sir.
I'm not understanding. You explain me. No, you explain me how it affect demand side, how it affect supply side. Anemia, the blood circulation increase. No, because of hypertime circulation, blood flow increase.
Yes, sir.
Then why do patient have angina pectoris? How is anemia can precipitate angina or anemia is a factor for secondary angina? Is my question. Okay, oxygen carrying capacity also decreases, no? Because anyway, low hemoglobin.
Supply also will decrease.
Most important supply than demand. Hypertime circulation, how much like hypertime circulation? That is very negligible. It is supply side.
Yes, sir.
Supply side. Yeah. Okay, then go ahead then. So I will be asking like question like this because I will interrupt you and ask you. You will assess your knowledge, no? Last 3 years, how much knowledge gained in cardiology. So, yes.
Okay, sir. So this chest pain was gradually progressive in beginning at 2 years.
Type 2 MI.
Type 2 MI is same, sir, demand supply mismatch, sir.
Yes, sir. Give some example of type 2 MI.
Hello, sir.
Give some examples of a type 2 MI.
Example, sir, like sepsis, severe shock states, and embolisms.
Severe shock state means what? What is the adjective of severe shock state?
Sir, hypotension, sir, severe hypotension, or coronary artery spasms. Yes, severe anemia comes in the type 2 MI only, sir.
Very good. Then, so coronary spasm and
whenever there is a mismatch, like demand supply mismatch, arrhythmias.
Sepsis, how do the patient develop type 2 MI? Sepsis?
Refractory shock state, they can develop, sir.
Okay, that's all then. Fine.
Okay. So this chest pain also was gradually progressed over the 2 years from NYHA class 2 to class 3, and now currently in the same activity level as that of the breathlessness. There is no history of palpitation, syncope, or presyncope. No history of edema, feet, abdominal pain, or reduced appetite, vomitings. No history of prolonged fever or skin lesion. No history of joint pain, joint swelling, or recurrence of throat in childhood. Because of the above complaints, patient has to stop his farming activities and was consulting to the local doctors. But because there was a failure of relief of symptom, came to our hospital for evaluation and treatment. Past history is not significant. He is a non-hypertensive, non-diabetic. Personal history. Patient is married since 7 years with two children, well and healthy. Appetite is adequate.
Dr. Kanchan, I probably am not not hard actually. Probably have missed. Have you mentioned any syncope? No syncope.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No history of palpitation, syncope, pre-syncope.
Oh, sure. Fine, fine.
Personal
And
history, sir.
Yes.
Personal
Yes.
history. He is married since 7 years with two children, well and healthy. Appetite is adequate. Mixed diet. Bowel bladder normal. Sleep normal. He is not having any addictions. Family history, sir. We already actually discussed family history. His father had a similar complaints at his age of the.
What are the addictions related to coronary disease or coronary events? What addictions are related to coronary?
Smoking, sir. Even
Smoke.
cocaine can cause MI because of the coronary artery spasm. Then alcohol to actually alcohol in a moderate limit. It is this is a protective. And
what higher limit?
Higher limit it may cause alcoholic cardiomyopathy, sir. Dilated cardiomyopathy. Binge alcohol.
Why alcohol can produce atherosclerosis?
No, not atherosclerosis, sir. It is protective moderate limit.
Why? No, moderate and high limit, not moderate limit.
High limit will not cause CADs.
Hello. High limit? Alcohol in high limit.
It will.
Cardiovascular disease, tell us what relates alcohol and cardiovascular disease. Just enumerate the.
Sir, holiday heart syndrome, sir. Alcohol, binge alcohol can cause atrial fibrillations. Then dilated cardiomyopathies. Then cardiac cirrhosis. Alcohol.
Cardiac cirrhosis.
Secondary.
What secondary? Secondary. What secondary? Secondary cardiac cirrhosis.
Means develop liver cirrhosis and followed by the congestive symptoms.
No, what alcohol hypertension, alcohol hypertension heart disease. Alcohol produces dyslipidemia. What is the dyslipidemia associated with alcoholism? Alcohol. What is
high TG level, sir. High triglycerides level and
low
HDL levels.
Naturally, when TG goes up and HDL goes down, so. So it has got any alcohol in high doses, high limit can produce atherosclerosis, can produce or not produce. Alcohol risk factor, no? Alcohol produce hypertension, alcohol produce dyslipidemia.
Chronic intake, sir, yes.
Any other addiction can in coronary artery disease or coronary events. You told cocaine, you told smoking, could be alcohol. Any drugs can?
Drugs can not like CAD, but infective endocarditis in drugs abuse or right-sided infective endocarditis is a cardiovascular event.
5-fluorouracil.
What does it do? 5-fluorouracil hypertension. 5-fluorouracil is what drug addiction.
No, sir. No, sir. Sorry.
Okay, fine. So let's go ahead then. So he has got no addiction then.
Yes, sir. Family history, sir. As we described earlier, his father had a similar complaints at about 45 years of his age, for which he was evaluated. Also, the diagnostic test was done through his right hand, probably coronary angiogram. Detailed reports they don't have, but he was found to have some heart disease at that time. And he was told that his father will require lifelong medication, and he was told to avoid strenuous activity lifelong. But there is no history of sudden cardiac death in a family.
What are
Summary,
the
sir.
diseases will have sudden cardiac death in family? What are the diseases?
Sir, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is one of the disease. Then anomalous coronary anomaly can cause sudden cardiac disease.
No, that runs in family.
No, sir. Channelopathy, sir.
No. Anomalous coronary disease runs in family or no? My question is, what are the diseases can cause family? What are the coronary diseases we can suspect that you will have family coronary disease? So one is hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Yes, sir.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, very good. Then what else? Channelopathies.
Channelopathy, sir. Long QT syndromes, Lugaro syndrome. These can cause sudden cardiac death.
Then what? Coronary disease?
ARVD, sir. Coronary artery disease with the left main involvement can cause sudden cardiac death, sir.
Why, yeah? Why left main? The left main involvement runs in family?
No, sir.
Then why do you mention those things? My question is...
sorry, sir.
So coronary disease as a whole, any cardiomyopathy, no? All see 1/3 cases, all diabetic cardiomyopathy or familial cardiomyopathy. So any cardiomyopathy, familial cardiomyopathies.
Yes,
we
sir.
have dietary restrictive. Also, they can familial cardiomyopathy. No, they can have a sudden cardiac death in family.
ARVC, sir.
ARVC.
And not common, but mitral valve prolapse, sir. Very rarely they can have sudden.
Okay. Fine. So no family history of sudden cardiac death.
Yes, sir.
Then
history over, sir.
History, what do you think? So only essentially the patient has he is a 34-year-old man. He has symptoms last 3 years, shortness of breath and typical angina. It's now functional class 3.
Yes,
and
sir.
no syncope and family history of heart disease, but heart disease, and we don't know what the nature of heart disease, and he is advised to refrain from strenuous physical activities and be on medicine lifelong.
Yes.
So these don't think. These are only 3 important history, nothing else.
Yes, sir.
He has got no addiction, nothing. Not a smoker, not a diabetic even also, not hypertension, not a diabetic.
Yes, sir.
So this is basing on 2 history, the 2 important history, symptoms. So what is your diagnosis?
Sir, I would like to give differential diagnosis as first as a left ventricular outflow tract obstruction, either fixed in the form of congenital aortic stenosis or dynamic in the form of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Thirdly, premature CAD is coronary artery disease is can be one of the differential diagnosis.
How to congenital aortic stenosis, and second is hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Yes, sir. LVT obstruction either fixed or dynamic, both are.
Both are possible.
Yes, sir.
If you take consideration into the family history, what do you think?
Family history, father having disease at the 45 years goes more in favor of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, dynamic obstruction, sir, or premature CAD.
No, premature atherosclerosis, he was told that you be refrain from strenuous physical activity, be on lifelong medicine. Why lifelong medicine?
That's why I kept it as second, sir. First will be dynamic elevator obstruction in the form of cardiomyopathy, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Yes. So, what do you think that from the family history, you thought about why coronary disease patient remain lifelong on medicine and which condition, which case?
Sir, because he has not advised any stenting or surgery, one possibility is it can be recanalized vessels. Other possibility is diffuse triple vessel disease.
Yes. So diffuse disease. One is recanalized.
On medical management, sir. So that.
But why they refrain from the physical activities? Physical activities, why?
This is more goes in favor of the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, sir. Coronary artery, unless it is left main involvement or still significant critical lesions without any, then they can advise refrain from exertion, strenuous activity.
Could be congenital anomaly coronary disease, so that they are told not
yes,
to.
Sir. Compression, coronary passing between aorta and PA, that can possible, sir.
Once you detect that patient is symptomatic, means immediate surgery, no?
Yes,
you can't hold back the patient. You have to send for surgery.
Yes.
So that is not. So it's not a congenital anomaly.
Unlike
so it is disease. So from history, suggest it's a case of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, not the coronary disease.
Yes.
Why? How come the strenuous physical activities is detrimental for this hypertrophic cardiomyopathy? Why?
Sir, on exertion, there will be increase in heart rate. Increase in heart rate was increase in contractility, and it will increase the gradient across the wall. Then again, it will reduce the feeling. So preload, LV preload will reduce. That again increase the gradient. And if patient is on not on medication like beta blocker to control heart rate, arrhythmia may precipitate, and which can lead to sudden decompensation.
If the patient not on what? If not patient not on what?
On beta blocker rate controlling drugs, then this can lead to sudden tachycardia. Arrhythmia may get precipitated.
Beta blocker cannot prevent certain kind of death. No, beta blocker cannot. No drugs can prevent. Even amiodarone cannot prevent a certain kind of death in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. So only that strenuous patient was advised against strenuous physical activity because of arrhythmia. Symptoms were there also, but because arrhythmia. Beta blocker, not amiodarone. No drugs can prevent certain kind of death in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so from history, we thought of the left ventricular obstruction, most probably the case of hypertrophic dynamic obstruction, hypertrophic.
Yes, sir.
Why dynamic obstruction? Why not is only hypertrophic cardiomyopathy per se? Why dynamic obstruction? Nothing. Why obstruction is coming here? Why not it is a case of only hypertrophic cardiomyopathy?
Symptoms are mild, generally non-obstructive cardiomyopathy, sir, and he has progressed to class 3 symptom now. So, likely possibility of the obstructive variety.
Why there is symptoms is more marked in obstructive, not in non-obstructive cardiomyopathy? So it means hypertrophy anyway, same degree. Maybe maybe in non-obstructive cardiomyopathy, hypertrophy may be more also. So why it is? Why symptoms more in obstructive cardiomyopathy?
Systolic anterior motion with the mitral wall causing MR, increasing PCWP, increasing the symptoms. Sir. That is more commonly with the obstructive variety.
So because MR you mean? MR the cause for the symptoms.
Combined cause. So there are multifactorial mechanisms.
No, tell one or two factors. Tell you.
Sir,
Where?
For breathlessness, sir. Angina.
Symptoms, no? What you told? You told that because symptoms is rapid. What is quite a, it is progressive disease, symptoms progressive. So I'm thinking obstructive rather than non-obstructive. And non-obstructive symptoms not much like this. So why the obstructive cardiomyopathy patients are more symptomatic, and what is the mechanism?
Sir, because of obstruction, the wall stress, LV wall stress is increased more in this variety. So increased wall stress will cause more hypertrophy. So there will be more demand. Also, this hypertrophy will can lead to bridging of the intramural vessels, or this will lead to increase LVDP more. So increase LVDP more will cause more increase in PCWP.
Cardiomyopathy because of LV left hypertrophy because of LV obstruction. Hypertrophy cardiomyopathy hypertrophy because of LVT obstruction or hypertrophy because of LVT obstruction?
No, sir. Actually, there is a micromyocyte disarray, and just that causes.
Micro disarray occur in both hypertrophic and obstructive, non-obstructive also. There's no much difference in disarray in obstructive versus non-obstructive. You understand my point? No, understood?
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Then okay. So when you guys are reading, no, when you are studying the subject, now you study in this way, study. You analyze and study. So that you can remember pathophysiology, mechanisms. Why the obstructive variety, the symptoms are more. Even though overall cardiac death is more in obstructive than non-obstructive.
Yes, sir.
More symptoms, more atrial fibrillations in obstructive varieties because of obstruction there. Obstruction one is to, you want told increase in intraventricular pressure. In MR will more, obviously. LA pressure more means for left ventricle LA gradient more, so MR will more. MR will augment it. So pulmonary patient will have significant pulmonary venous hypertension one. Cardiac output is less. Reduce cardiac output. Cardiac output decrease. That is producing syncope, all everything. That further increase coronary ischemia. More fibrosis.
Yes,
more
pressure.
More diastolic dysfunction. So this is perpetuate. So fine. So it could be so because of there is progression of disease. You thought about obstructive cardiomyopathy rather than non-cardiomyopathy. And second possible, probably it is a case of may not be. It could be a second ancillary valvular aortic stenosis.
Yes.
The only thing that patient has valvular aortic almost 3 years now symptoms, and keeping in mind the family stuff. Okay, bicuspid aortic valve runs in family.
Yes.
But why the patient of bicuspid valve told that you need not require surgery, you be a lifelong treatment? No. So if you consider history not a bicuspid aortic valve, it is a hypertrophic cardiomyopathy obstructive variety.
Yes.
Okay. So could you take a case of dilated cardiomyopathy? Because patient has no syncope, so why not is dilated cardiomyopathy?
Sir, in chest pain is not common in dilated cardiomyopathy. That goes in.
Who told you? There, no, chest pain also there because dilated cardiomyopathy is a condition where the microvascular dysfunction there. So patient develop typical angina pectoris. And not in that, you may get also regional wall motion abnormalities on echo also any dilated cardiomyopathy. You may get. Why not dilated cardiomyopathy? Or do obstacle? Dilated cardiomyopathy runs in family. Probably the father had dilated cardiomyopathy at certain day. Not certain day. You are told to be on medicine lifelong. No surgery for dilated cardiomyopathy.
Yes, sir.
Why not? Why not?
It can be.
It could be. Rank is low rank. Due to low rank, it is probability is less than the obstructive cardiomyopathy, but still you can think of. So this is myocardial disease and mostly not a valvular disease, myocardial disease. And coronary because typical angina pectoris, shortness of breath, and no other risk factors. So it is intermediate possibility, interprobability coronary disease is not high probability coronary disease, even though there is patient have typical angina pectoris. As per the age and gender is concerned, we would think of intermediate probability coronary disease. And
Yes.
with that, but obviously there are no risk factors for the patient. Or patient will have a anomalous coronary disease. We have give typical diagnosis and we discuss one by one. We discuss like this.
Yes.
Okay. On examination.
On examination, patient is conscious, cooperative, oriented to time-place person, moderately big, moderate nourished with a BMI of 22.8. Upper limb and lower limb ratio is 1.0. Back, spine normal, no dysmorphic features, no pallor, cyanosis, clubbing, edema, icterus. Temperature is normal by palpation. Pulse is 84 per minute, regular, normal volume, with a brisk upstroke, without any radial or radiofemoral delay, with a normal condition of the arterial wall, all peripheral pulses palpable. Blood pressure is 110 by 17 right upper limb, 112 by 70 millimeters mercury left upper limb, 120 mm of G systolic in the bilateral lower. The respiratory rate is 18 per minute, regular, abdominal thoracic. JVP is 3 cm above sternal angle in 45-degree proctor position with a prominent A wave with a normal descent with a normal respiratory variation with a negative abdominal jugular reflex. Carotid says no thrill. Cardiovascular examination. Inspection palpation combined. Chest is bilaterally symmetrical, normal elliptical in shape. Trachea central. Apex pit is palpable in the left fifth intercostal space, medial to the midclavicular line, heaving in nature with a radial retraction, LV type of apex without any thrill. There in a left third parasternal lesion, there is a systolic thrill present. S4 is palpable. There is no parasternal heave.
There is no parasternal? There is no
parasternal heave.
Okay.
Percussion, sir. Left heart border correspond to apex. Right heart border is retrosternal. Left second intercostal space is resonant. Liver diamond is present in the right fifth intercostal space in the midclavicular line. On auscultation, S1 is normal. S2 is paradoxical split. S4 is audible with the bell of the stethoscope at apex in the left lateral position. There is no SC, no click. There is a harsh ejection systolic murmur of grade 4/6 intensity, crescendo, simple in nature, late peaking, best heard in the left third intercostal space, not radiating to the carotid, better heard in inspiration, standing, and with the strain phase of the Valsalva, reduced in intensity on squatting, supine position, and with isometric hand grip. There are two murmurs, sir.
Isometric hand grip is reducing intensity.
Yes, sir.
Isometric hand grip is reducing intensity. Okay. Isometric hand grip. Okay. Fine, correct. Go ahead.
Grade 3/6 high pitched blowing pansystolic murmur, best heard at the apex, radiating to axilla, heard with the best with the diaphragmatic stethoscope, increase on standing and reducing on the squatting. Other system examination are within normal limits, sir.
Lastly, Manu, going to axilla, what is happening? What is happening? What is dynamic oscillation? What happened? Ancestral murmur going to axilla, grade
3/6, sir. No thrill.
Yes.
Increases on standing, sir. Decreases on squatting. And increase.
Yes. Right. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Then?
Only 2 murmurs, sir.
Diagnosis nothing there.
Other system examinations within normal limits, sir. Diagnosis. Yes. It is a severe dynamic LV outflow tract obstruction in the form of hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy with a moderate MR without significant pulmonary artery hypertension with diastolic dysfunction, currently in NYHA class 3 in sinus rhythm.
Without significant
Pulmonary artery hypertension.
How much pulmonary venous hypertension?
Sir, here he is NYHA class 3.
Yes.
So they suggested the moderate PVS, sir, around 18 to 24. So mean pulmonary artery pressure will be around 12 plus. If you consider 20 mean, then it will be mean pulmonary artery pressure will be around 12 plus 20, 32, sir. So
mild pH.
Mild pH, but clinically
they are not able to appreciate.
Yes, sir.
Okay, may not able to appreciate. Fine, then. So moderate MR, severe elevated diaphragmatic obstruction, moderate MR. This MR is dynamic or it is fixed also?
What's it?
The MR is dynamic. You told severe elevated dynamic obstruction, and yes, moderate sir. MR is dynamic MR or it is fixed MR?
Sir, here it looks like a fixed dynamic MR, sir. But 2/3 patient may have, along with dynamic MR, they may have
Hey, what is your name? Kalpana. I'm not asking the theory here. So it is practical exam asking. I'm practical. Here practical theory not here. It is dynamic MR. Dynamic MR. So dynamic moderate MR.
Yes, sir.
So dynamic moderate MR. Then moderate PVH and mild pH by hemodynamic assessment. Then
in sinus rhythm.
As them. Then
currently in NYHA class 3.
Class 3. Then no endocarditis.
No, sir. No, without any features of any
endocarditis. Okay, let's go one by one. So, why do you say severe dynamic elevated obstruction? So, etiology is what? Severe dynamic obstruction. What is etiology of dynamic obstruction?
Hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, sir.
Any other condition you get dynamic elevated obstruction? Forget this case. Any other conditions you get dynamic elevated obstruction? Dynamic elevated obstruction.
No, sir.
No. Don't know. You read that? Dynamic, all of you read dynamic elevated obstruction, excepting your cardiomyopathy, aortic cardiomyopathy.
Okay. Sir.
All of you. This is given task to you all. So, what do you mean dynamic MR? Tell me what are the conditions in dynamic MR?
Here.
No, I'm not asking here. I'm asking 10 conditions to get MR. Now, little theory now.
Okay. Dynamic MR, whenever there is a systolic anterior motion of the mitral leaflet because of reduced coaptation, like in hypercontractile state, hypercontractile state, sir, LVS, sir. Then infiltration of the septum.
Dr. Kanchan, I'm not asking why do you get dynamic MR here. I'm asking tell me the conditions where you get dynamic MR. Some theoretical aspect I'm discussing. Conditions where you get dynamic MR. One is hepatic cardiomyopathy. Second?
MR, sir, acute myocardial infarction. Inferior wall.
Tell ischemic MR, tell no why to acute myocardial infarction.
Inferior wall.
Oh, to ischemic MR, tell forget inferior MR, anterior MI. Ischemic MR. Then any other condition to dynamic MR? Bhushan?
Sir, mitral valve prolapse, sir.
Good, mitral prolapse. So that's the answer. That's the second answer, I think.
Yes, yes.
The second answer. So obstructive cardiomyopathy, or otherwise the first diagnosis should, first answer should be mitral prolapse, ischemic
Yes.
MR, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation beat to beat variation, dynamic MR. Okay.
Yes.
LV dysfunction, dynamic MR get or not? MR because of dysfunction, MR because of LV dysfunction. Yeah, dynamic MR LV improves.
Yes, sir.
Gives-
In acute LVF, we can severity of MR may be more.
You are doing all the mistakes, man. You guys are doing. How will measure acute LVF here? See, your mistakes are no. Your acute ischemic MR, acute macromacular infarction MR. No. Acute LVF dynamic. LVF dynamic MR get LV dysfunction. LV dysfunction tell you why you say LVF. Okay, so which consider fixed MR?
Fixed MR, rheumatic MR, sir.
Rheumatic MR due to metal annular calcification, because metal ring, the effect or PCP doesn't constitute, doesn't expand because of the calcification of metal ring, metal annulus.
Yes.
Metastasis, you can get fixed or metastasis fixed MR.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why do you get severe? Let's come to what is that topic? No, why do you say severe dynamic LVT expression? What is the meaning of severe here? Has got any meaning? See, severe aortic stenosis, you know that patient severe aortic needs surgery.
Yes, sir.
Understand? So severe LVT dynamic obstruction. What is the mean? What is the natural history? Severe versus moderate. Patient has got 100 gradient LVT, and one person, and a few person has got 45 to 50 gradients. Any 50 gradient or 60 gradient. Okay, 60, 70 gradient. Other people 120 gradient. Any difference in your natural history? Difference in your symptoms? I'm discussing very critically. I'm discussing. So you have to read in that way. Prepare the case that way. If supposing a long case, no, I would like to ask this like this. See, severe, when you say severe aortic stenosis, has got some implication. Patient need to undergo surgery, or patient should be evaluated for surgery, even though patient not symptomatic. So here, you told severe. You mentioned that severe dynamic LVT obstruction. So what is his clinical implication? Does it require, because the severity of gradient does require any risk factor for patient has 50 gradient, somebody has 120 gradient. 120 gradient is more prone to develop sudden cardiac death, or more prone to develop all complications of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy? Tell me that.
Sir, it is mentioned as potential arbitrator for the sudden cardiac death, sir. Resting gradient more than 50. So resting gradient of more than 50 is, sir, arbitrary factor.
I know, my dear. He told severe. What is the definition of severe LVT dynamic obstruction? What is the meaning of severe LVT dynamic obstruction? When this is more than 40 meters per second, your velocity, no, or more than mean gradient more than 40 millimeter mercury. So what is the here? How to qualify patient has got severe LVT dynamic obstruction? You see, Dr. Kanchan, don't feel bad. It's now very good. Your presentation is good. Your diagnosis come. But I'm asking you, how do you mean severe?
Actually, because clinical there was thrill, paradoxical split, and late picking murmur. That's why actually
correct. I say correct. That is, you are correct. But what is the clinical meaning? See, to understand point. Severe MR patient require surgery. Simply severe LV dynamic obstruction.
Yes, sir. Symptomatic hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy with gradient more than 50. If drug refractory rate is indication for intervention.
So what is the meaning of severe here? I'm asking. I understand point now. When severe aortic stenosis means the velocity more than 4 meter per second. Gradient is more than 40 meter mercury. So what do you mean severe here?
Actually, there is no such definition.
No such thing. No such thing. So minimum peak gradient more than 40 meter mercury here or not?
Yes.
Minimum. Why do you say 50 meter mercury? That is your no. That is cut off for the intervention.
Yes,
Either
sir.
rest or provocative.
Yes, sir.
So I'm getting a thing, sir. If you're, I don't know, somebody has to verify your findings. How often you get a paragraph split in the obstetric cardiomyopathy? That is theoretical, but how often clinically get your paragraph split in obstetric cardiomyopathy? On us to check your findings. So that means you are telling, sir, this patient is drug refractory because I'm telling severity definitely more than, because I'm getting 3 paragraph split.
Late picking
So,
murmur.
picking murmur. Why should pay late pick murmur? When you start late, no. Murmur will
Yes,
start
mid to late
always late.
systole.
Mid late systole. So, but if picking late, fine. Picking late, starting mid systole, going to later part of the systole. So it is delayed here. You got S4 because what? Yeah.
S4 is because of left atrial contractions, and because of the LV stiff, there's a forceful left contraction.
Has it got any meaning in case aortic stenosis, valvular aortic
No,
stenosis?
in aortic stenosis, it represents severity, but HCM, it does not represent severity. It is S4, we can palpate in both obstructive as well as non-obstructive.
Okay, fine, fine.
It does not mean any severity.
Okay. So S4 has got no relation severity of the obstruction, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So then, okay, fine. So next, who told us moderate amount of? Oh, Shweta Kone. Oh, yes. Moderate, why do you say moderate MRE?
Sir, because clinically mild MR is difficult to diagnose, and there is no feature suggestive of the severe MR, like there is no ST, there is no associated mid-gastric murmur or no LV dilatation. So I'm thinking of moderate MR.
But you got a pansillary murmur, no? How can you got a pansillary murmur here? Murmur start because if you think MR is, you told MR dynamic MR told, no?
Yes, mid to late.
Then you told pansillary murmur. So not a pansillary murmur, mid to late systole
Mid to
murmur.
late.
So mid to late systole murmur cannot be severe. Usually won't be severe. Usually. Because regression time is less.
Yes.
About systole. And murmur having pansystolic murmur, definitely MR severe than the murmur having only half of the systole.
Mid to late. Yes.
Regression throughout the diastole and regression only half of the systole. So definitely it is murmur MR not severe here, obviously.
Yes. Yes.
And why going to axilla?
Because of posterior maybe because whenever there is a dynamic MR associated with the SAM, there is a funnel form which projects the jet to posterior.
Okay. If it's coming, okay, fine. Then you told what functional class 3, no endocarditis. If endocarditis occurs, where what site of endocarditis?
Site of endocarditis will be at the point where AML is hitting the IBS and AML.
Aortic wall.
Huh? Not
Aortic
aortic
wall.
wall, sir. Anterior mitral leaflet where it is hitting the IVS. That contact point also can get affected, but very rarely. Infective endocarditis is not common in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Okay, what is what the plan for this case?
Sir, there are 2-3 things we have to do. So first is risk stratification for sudden cardiac death and patient's education. Second point will be the medical management, initiating the beta blocker to keep heart rate at rest around 55 to 60 and exercise less than around 80. And if it continues the symptom, we can add non-hydrocodone calcium channel blocker such as verapamil or diltiazem.
Will add. Will add.
Not add, sir. If his symptoms are not improving with the beta blocker. And third line of medical treatment is diazepam.
What the contraindication of verapamil?
Sir, if patient is in very severe hypotension or there is a significantly raised PCWP, then we should not add verapamil.
No, that means you have to do one case study before adding verapamil or what? You told CW capillary voice pressure. No, how do you know capillary voice pressure?
So symptoms, sir. If class 4 symptoms.
Symptoms because of the diastolic dysfunction. No, that symptom because of symptoms are giving drugs. My question is contraindication of verapamil. You told the patient has got severe symptoms and capillary voice pressure is. How do you know capillary voice pressure? You need to case study this case. Can you derive LA pressure in echo, LA pressure? Assessment by LA pressure in echocardiograph, this case.
Sir, E by E dash, sir. More than 10.
Okay, E by
E prime. Yes, sir. Raise LV. Then a diazepam is difficult. Availability is problem.
Otherwise, any other method to know LA pressure. One E by E prime. That is, it will give not exactly value. Won't give. That will give arbitrary. Is more than this. Than this. Arbitrary will give the LA pressure. AOH pressure. Any other method to know LA pressure here? Are you got MR? No, MR you can systolic pressure MR gradient minus कर दो. LV systolic pressure minus MR gradient.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. But that not also correct because what? Jet may not be because it pushes jet may not be good jet.
Difficult to assess eccentricity.
So my question is how to assess severe to MR in the presence of hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. Echocardiography. Same apply or anything there you know. Anyway, you can't jet width on jet length you cannot applicable here because jet length is depend on LB gradient between LB and LA. Here is disproportional high LB to LA gradient. Tell me how to assess severe to MR in the presence of hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. Don't know, read these things. All of you read, please.
Yes.
Okay, only gradient more than 100 mm mercury LVT gradient. Verapamil should not give because verapamil produce pulmonary edema. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Whenever any calcium blocker given, very carefully give because patient may develop pulmonary edema.
Yes.
So you can give beta blocker, you can escalate the dose can increase. So till patient develop significant bradycardia or symptoms of beta blocker. Then you can add to that disopyramide maybe. It is available, disopyramide not available nowadays.
Yes.
So more than that, more the starting treatment, you have to assess the risk factor for sudden cardiac death. Or E only 30.
Yes, sir. We have to assess his children also. We have to tell him to watch when they are more than 12 years of age. They have to do eco screening for children also. And
Yes.
his self risk stratification also we have to do for certain cardiac.
Yeah. Self.
He, self his risk stratification also we have to do for sudden cardiac death, as well as his fields also we have to tell him to monitor in future.
What future? Might.
Whenever his kids will be more than 12 years of age, then we have to eco screening we have to do.
Family screening. Okay, fine. Family
Yes.
screening, fine.
Yes.
So then family screening, fine, very good. So family screening will do, and screening for sudden cardiac death. Two things should do.
Yes.
So anyway, for this for screening, the clinically cannot do full assessment for sudden cardiac risk. You have to take the help of
Holter
echo.
monitoring or study eco CMR.
How CMR help you?
So in CMR, if the diffuse late gadolinium enhancement is extensive, more than 20%, then even if absent,
20% told, cut off 15%.
please, I mean, for significance, even if absence of other risk factors, it is a significant risk for sudden cardiac.
Then MRI one is more than 15% of your
gadolinium enhancement, which suggests fibrosis.
Tell me what are the else? No, MRI science, MRI imaging science for high risk. One is gadolinium enhancement. Second, what is the role of MR?
Fibrosis is sparing. And we can quantify MR also, sir. Volumes we can measure better.
That not help us, no. MR, I just asked.
Not for sudden cardiac.
Apical HCM we can diagnose, sir. And thickness of the wall, if it is more than 3 centimeters, is a risk factor. Yes,
MRI can give thickness of wall. So atypical location when you can't profile in echocardiography, especially posterior vessel and apical. So can't profile by echocardiography. So MR will help in diagnosis. So MR is very useful tool for diagnosis as well as prognosis.
Even sir, RV involvement we can look better.
For me, that is imaging. No, that whenever echo cannot help us, MRI can help. So that diagnosis and prognosis.
Yes.
And most important thing is that your assessment for a high risk, that gadolinium enhancement and apical aneurysm. Apical aneurysm is one of the substrate. No, that is for the one of the substrates for high risk.
Yes.
Apical aneurysm. And what else? And maternal anatomy. Maternal anatomy is very crucial for patient for surgery or maternal dysfunction in the HCM, which you can't image in echocardiography. That MRI will give the correct picture. There are several types of maternal anomalies. No, maternal valve leaflet positions.
Anterior displacement of
papillary muscle position, maternal leaflet length, maternal apparatus anatomy, which can't image by echocardiography. That MRI give the clear picture. So that is important for the surgeons. And probably more upcoming now. They see the LA assessment.
It can differentiate.
No, diagnosis, that diagnosis I'm telling. Diagnosis means diagnosis and different diagnosis. You have to see, you have to exclude the HCM mimics, Noonan syndrome, included disorders.
Yes, sir.
Like your even sometimes your rhabdomyoma or sometimes mistaken as your hypercardiomyopathy, especially children. So that will help. MRI will help you in diagnosis and different diagnosis, excluding the.
Exactly, it's hard we can differentiate.
Yeah, HCM mimics.
Yes.
Then prognosis important. And maternal apparatus anomalies, maternal apparatus anatomy. And now you can see the LA function and LA imaging for the any fibrosis, which is predictor of atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation is horrible, one of the most dangerous natural history of hepatic cardiomyopathy.
Yes, sir.
Atrial fibrillation is more symptomatic because there to beat to beat variation of the your left ventricular stroke output, and so beat to beat variation of left ventricular output obstruction because of the small volume, big volume of smaller volume, bigger volume of left ventricular cavity. Because there difference there is varying in preload and afterload in atrial fibrillation. So atrial fibrillation is very dangerous. One of the especially more symptomatic because their atrial boost is lost.
Gone. Yes.
And second thing is it is a high risk group for developing heart failure and stroke also.
Yes, sir.
CHA2DS score is not required in SM.
Yes.
Anticoagulation. So then they will ask the few questions. They'll ask how to restratify. They'll restratify. Either they ask the question, common question, one risk versus multiple risks. I'm telling you this. You read this thing, and they'll ask you. Supposing you for primary prevention, you put ICD. So what the discharge rate annually? Secondary prevention, the discharge rate annually. So they'll ask, what is inappropriate shock, ICD shock in hepatic cardiomyopathy? What could the cause for this inappropriate shock in hepatic cardiomyopathy? So then the role of intervention, that indicates intervention, septal ablation by surgery versus alcohol. Difference.
Yes.
Ablation versus surgery. And what are the suitable cases for surgery? All suitable cases. No, first case where the septal thickness more than 18 millimeter. IBS. And somebody did 14 millimeter also. So we write 18 millimeter is good.
Cut off.
Yes, cut off. Yeah. So what the difference outcome of septal ablation versus surgical ablation, and what is your preference?
Yes.
The last questions. So there is need to do ICD implant after septal ablation, and UPS then justify any study per you have to mention. So what to do for this case? For this case, I will assess for the high risk categories, risk stratification for ICD.
Yes.
If not, they are only put on medicine, and patient is still on symptoms.
Refractory, then myomectomy, because he's young patient, no much comorbidities. Myomectomy would be best option.
And you'll do echo or MRI assessment, see the metal apart. Does it require any additional metal surgery or not?
Repair. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Good. Very good. Does there any role in genotyping here?
Sir, few mutations they are more malignant, in that risk of the sudden cardiac death will be more like tropomyosin and what is that?
But guideline silent. Guideline doesn't say go for genotyping. But what is the role of what the role of genotyping in clinical practice? Is there the role of genotyping in clinical practice?
If there is a malignant family history of sudden cardiac death, then we may discuss. Because they have mutations like tropomyosin, they will have only mild hypertrophy, but they will have more sudden cardiac death will be very high. So if there is a malignant history of the family history of sudden cardiac death in patient, then and mild hypertrophy and echo, then better to go for genotyping to evaluate risk of sudden cardiac death.
Genopositive and phenonegative, what will get in echo? I ask this question. Gene positive but phenonegative. What echo can get?
There won't be much hypertrophy, sir, in artery.
But what you get, something will get, no?
Uh,
You will get LV diastole dysfunction. You will get some blood crypts in the myocardium, blood crypts myocardium, and also elongation of the hematoliphids. You will get it. And patient has genopositive and phenonegative by age 25 years. Then what is your plan for genopositive or phenonegative? We are following at 4 years following, no? Every 5 years following.
Sir, from
listen,
like
let me listen. All of you listen. So let me finish my questions. Genopositive family history of the patient has got the proband. Patient has got and his family history, brothers, sisters. So one brother he has got genopositive but phenonegative by 12 years. Then what to do? By 12 years, genopositive and phenonegative. Then what to do next?
Annually echo screening till 18 years of the age, and more than 18, 5 yearly echo screening we have to do.
Till what? Till what age? Till death? Continue like this.
Generally, they will develop in adolescence only, sir.
Yeah, up to 18 years to 12, 12 up to 12 years is usually they get 12 years. Now it will 18 years fine. Then 18 years after every 5 years, 23 years phenonegative, 28 years phenonegative. Every 5 years to do no then. So how frequent will do and how long will do this? They have told that even 60, 70 years also the patient can manifest there is phenotypical expression of disease. Even late 50, 60 years.
The 5 yearly.
Huh? So
5
every 5
yearly.
I don't know. I'm asking you. Might I read these things? Anybody know this answer or read it and let me know that I want to know this answer.
Okay, sir. I'll read, sir.
Certainly you read. Okay, so what is the role of Holter here? Yeah? You told somebody Holter. What is the role of Holter?
Yes, sir. NSVT, if we find on Holter monitoring, then it is a conventional risk marker for cardiac death, sir. For risk stratification, it is indicated, sir.
NSVT only one. We did 48 hours Holter and only one episode NSVT.
No, one episode is not, sir, but multiple and repetitive non-sustained VTs are risk factors.
Tell me, no, only one, only 40 Holter you can keep for how many days, for years, months together, no, weeks together. So 40 hours, okay, maximum 70 hours will be Holter. Okay, 7 days. 7 days you fixed Holter. Only 1 or 2 episodes of their NSVT. Then what to do? There are no other risk factors. There is no other risk factor for death. Only this one. Because you didn't get anything, just fixed Holter. So Holter we got only 42 hours or 70 hours. One morning, one there on one time on afternoon. There are 2 episodes there. So really very difficult. Very difficult to judge. Really, everybody express the same thing. Let us say it's very difficult to unless the patient. The most important, most class 1 indication is aborted short-term death. Or patient has short-term death. That most class 1 indication. Class 1 indication level of evidence is to implanting ICD in hepatic cardiomyopathy. Next, maybe patient has got there is sustained BT more than 30 minutes, 30 seconds BT.
Or unexplained recent syncope. Or family history.
Unexplained means what? Unexplained means patient there is no history, no suggestive vasovagal attack, not drug-induced syncope. Anybody comes with syncope, not indication for implanting pacemaker, implanting ICD in case of hepatic cardiomyopathy. You have to rule out the causes of. There are no definite causes of syncope.
Yes.
Patient want to pilot on standing as maturating APL. It's not indication for ICD.
Yes, sir. Unexplained and recent within last 6 months, sir.
6 months. So really very difficult unless there is strong family history or aborted short-term cardiac death or recurrent VT you have documented. Otherwise very difficult to have a decision to implant pacemaker, implant ICD.
So there's score also, sir. SCD score. If it is
not validated, don't mention score. That is European Society. They are not validated. They are not validated, and this American tool they don't accept that. See, latest guideline, latest there is still not that score. They're not asking. They're accepting that European Society. They're not validated.
Okay.
That again, so many things. Early dimension they are taken. After periods, elevator after so many things they have taken.
Yes, sir.
So, a good case discussion. They will ask like these questions. You should know that is arbitrator, etc. Brown had given one whole page, table. So read that thing. Remember that.
Okay.
Moreover, they'll ask more about the clinical part. Clinical part. Why do you get parallel split? What is S4? Why do you get S4? What is triple ripple? What is a double apical impulse? What can constitute double apical impulse?
Yes.
So ask the clinical oriented question. Then you go to theory. Okay. What kind of ICD will put? Dual chamber, single chamber?
Dual chamber.
Why not single chamber? So these patients are prone to develop supraventricular arrhythmia because of the early dilatation.
Yes, sir. 20-25%. Yes.
It is better to put dual chamber ICD.
Yes.
Okay. Understand?
Yes, sir. Paroxysmal
some patient, we had a patient actually. In fact, what happened? He has got Bhushan and our Krishnadas might be knowing this. So he patient is hepatic cardiomyopathy and he has got syncope. And syncope, that means history suggests cardiac syncope. He was sitting and he had got loss of consciousness. Just on walking a little fast, I got unconscious twice. So he came to us. Then he got it. There is a complete heart block actually. We saw intermittent complete heart block. So what is the plan for this case? I have to do obstructive cardiomyopathy, syncope, and we could able to find out patient has got intermittent complete heart block. So what is your plan for this case?
We have to put dual chamber
Dual chamber, single chamber, or his bundle
dual
pacemaker,
chamber,
or
dual chamber.
swell. What put swell is there? That swell. Swell there. Swell is not there. Swell. Hello.
Dual chamber, sir.
No, I'll put ICD. Dual chamber ICD.
Dual chamber ICD. I mean, so dual chamber ICD.
Dual ICD. Not as a pacemaker. ICD. Anyway, the patient has got hepatic cardiomyopathy per se. There is a substitute for ventricular arrhythmia. So
yes, dual chamber.
Okay, then patient has got what is the indication of ICD in hepatic cardiomyopathy? One is, and also the risk factor also. No, there one for risk also. There is LV dilatation, end-stage heart failure also. No,
yes,
patient going to end-stage heart failure, that is also a risk for heart.
Yes, sir, that is a potential risk. Yes.
Yes, so then that is also indication for.
The primary indication will be documented cardiac arrest or documented VTs or hemodynamically significant VTs. That will be class 1 indications.
Yeah, that is class 1 level. That is no doubt. There is no doubt about starting a death or BTP. There you documented BT. No doubt that. No, these are things. And the patient has gone to end stage heart failure. That is also if rejection person less than 35. And
class 2 indications.
Class 2 indication of ICD. And of course, if his QR is prolonged, then CRDD we can implant.
Yes.
Yes. So then, what are the predictors of end-stage heart failure? Less than 5%, 3 to 5% of patient goes to heart failure.
Yes.
So what are the predictor of end-stage heart failure? Only family history, nothing else. And previously told that patient has got obstructive cardiomyopathy, goes to end-stage heart failure. No, only family history of end-stage heart failure. That is the only predictor of end-stage heart failure.
Okay.
So what will happen? Patient obstructive cardiomyopathy, and no, they will ask the question. Patient obstructive cardiomyopathy, and after some time you saw there is no obstruction, LV obstruction. So you can think of it dynamic. Sometimes you may get second stage patient gone to end-stage heart failure, won't have LV obstruction because end-stage heart failure LV dilate, no LV dilate, so LV to narrowing won't occur.
Yes.
So no more will have LV obstruction.
Yes, sir.
Of course, after the Morrow surgery or after the septal ablation, obstruction disappear.
Yes.
These are the causes of absence of obstruction in the natural history of the disease.
Okay. Sir.
Okay, so like this, so depends how much they know in case of the other septal ablation, they can ask a theory. Which area to ablate, what the purpose of ablating the things, and how much alcohol you take, how to identify the area, which septality to inject. They may ask you if it's a long
Yes,
case
sir.
given.
Yes, sir.
If it's a long case given to, they'll ask you. If short case, they no much time, so they ask not many questions.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so they'll ask you what is dysphagia. What is dysphagia? How to diagnose dysphagia?
Myocyte dysphagia, sir. Sir,
Yes.
in pathology, there will be whole appearance, sir. They will lose normal architecture, and whole appearance will be there in histopathology. Biopsy we can.
What is the macro anatomy, macro anatomical pathology of hepatic cardiomyopathy obstacle?
Sir, there is a loss of architecture, myocyte disarray. Then there is a reduced capillary.
Not macroscopic, macro.
Sarcomere mutation, sir.
Macroscopic, or macro, not macro.
Macro. Okay, sir.
Macro, yes, macro. Tell me. So left hypertrophy, LV cavity small, LA enlargement there.
Yes,
no,
sir.
they think.
Yes, sir.
And there is septal contact, AML septal contact, the thickening, glistening appearance. You talk like this.
Yes.
Yes. And they will ask you the athlete hearts versus.
Yes, sir. Athlete hearts, they will rarely go beyond 16 mm. LV cavity, endoscopic cavity will be more than 55. Then on deconditioning, there will be reversible of the fibrosis. And on CMR, there will be no or minimal fibrosis in athlete heart.
Echo, there no diastolic dysfunction.
Yes, there no diastolic dysfunction. And the cavity will be larger. LV end diastolic volume will be more than 55. And even...
LA enlargement more in which condition? LA enlargement. LA enlargement, yeah.
HCM, sir. HCM.
Yes. Okay, so fine. Okay, stop here. Good. Your presentation good and case also good. Discussion also went on well.